Happy New Year, everyone. Before we get to 2021, I want to talk about 2020. Specifically, I want to talk to three people. I want to talk to the wounded, to the worried, and I want to talk to the lonely. The wounded are the ones that have been hurt badly by someone else and they carry that pain with them each and every day. The worried are those that can't seem to shake their fears and their anxieties. And the lonely are those that are unseen, unwanted, and unnoticed. It just so happens that those three feel some sort of particular pain this time of year. And as you wrap up this season of Christmas and Advent, it ends with promises and truths that can provide deep comfort to these people. It ends with truths that can help shape the perspectives of the wounded, of the worried, and of the lonely. And after all, that is what faith is. Faith is walking through the world with a different perspective, seeing your pain, seeing this planet, seeing this life that we are called into through a lens of a certain truth, and truths that change everything. You see, you don't want to admit it, but throughout the course of the year, you have felt wounded, worried, or lonely. Perhaps all three. It's hard that you're not able to celebrate this year or this new year in the way that you want to, with the parties that you want to. But you do have a banquet celebration, and I want you to know this truth. You are a guest at God's great banquet. I've been navigating Psalm 23, and I have shared a little bit of that with you in the last couple of weeks. But David in Psalm 23, he makes a shift and a change. And he goes from talking about the Lord as a shepherd and us as sheep to now this change that he is the host of a great banquet and we are the guests at that banquet. I want to read that to you. And it says that you prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, and my cup overflows. The promise is this. If you belong to God, though you are hurt, though you are wounded, though you carry pains and problems, that is not the primary identifier for you. The Lord is the host of a great banquet, and he has invited in you, and it's not just some mediocre party either. It's not some horrible wedding where there's cold chicken cordon bleu and cheap beer. It's a good party, and there's seriously good steak and a host of really good IPAs and expensive Italian wine. It's not only just a good party, but you are not only just a guest. You, as God's people, are the guest. You are the guest of honor, and we know that because David says, you anoint my head with oil and my cup overflows. That is a signifier in the ancient culture that you are the guest of honor. In a dusty ancient world, when you walk into a party, your head would be anointed with oil as a way of relieving some of your stress and pain. It was a sign that you were important and that your cup was never empty, but the best wine was constantly and always being poured into it. It meant that you were a person of importance, that you were a guest of honor at God's great feast. And it's not just any feast. It's a victory feast. David says, you host me, Lord, at a party in the presence of my enemies. And it's not that these enemies were eating with you. No, it's a victory, a celebration, and your host has defeated the enemies. And he holds them captive, and now you celebrate the presence, and you rub it in their face. That's what's happening here. If you're wounded, hurt deeply, you carry that with you every single day. Maybe it was a spouse that turned their back on you or cheated on you. Maybe it was a horrible, tragic loss that you suffered, or a family member that was supposed to protect you that ended up hurting or harming you, or a friend that turned their back on you. God's promise, however, is that defining characteristic of your life is not that you are a victim of what they did. The promise is that God will defeat all things that seem to have done you wrong. And the theme of your life will not be victimhood, but a victory in God. The theme of your life will not only be victory, but a celebration rather than sorrow. And there will come a day that that will bring justice to the wrong that he has done to you, and you will enjoy a celebration with him into eternity. You are the guest of the feast, God who has conquered your enemies, and he feeds you good things. To the worried, you are being chased by his grace. If you carry worries and fears and anxieties, he is chasing you down with his grace. To the lonely, God is never far from you. If you are hurt, anxious, or alone, know that the gift of Christmas, Christ in a manger, born for you, know that the gift of Christmas is perfect for you. You see, don't see this year as failure. See it as a victory that God has already won for you. Because of Christ, the new year will be a year full of grace for us, not another year of regret and wasted opportunities, but a year of the Lord's favor, of forgiveness, of the victories that have already been won, and they've been won for you. So, dear friends, do not squander the great grace of God. Use every day that you have been given. Celebrate 2021. Know that the victory has already been won for you, and celebrate that. Live in his grace. Know that he is near. And we look for a better tomorrow. Amen.